And welcome back. It's now 12 minutes away from 7 o'clock, and as promised before the break, we're sitting down to talk about the Crooked Tree Bird and Fish Festival. And joining us for this conversation, we have a councillor from the Crooked Tree Village Council, Dean Tillett, and we also have the Environmental Education and Communications Director from Belize Audubon Society, Derice Chook.
Good morning and
welcome to the show.
Good morning, William. Good morning, Marlene. Good morning, Belize.
Now, let's start off perhaps by talking a little bit about bird watching in Belize, because for a lot of people, that's still not something that is, looked on in a very favorable way. So let's talk about the Audubon Society's work with birding in general.
That's right, William, and that's a good way to start off. For locals, bird watching is something that's still being catching on, and the work of Belize Audubon Society has been focused on that for the past 3 years because of a project that we're implementing, and it's to strengthen bird-based tourism around 3 of the protected areas that we work with, Crooked Tree being one of them. And so one of the objectives of that is to create more awareness, to improve the local knowledge and understanding, and so people can see the true value in protecting birds, that there is economic value in protecting birds. We have a huge bird-based tourism market here in Belize, where people come to Belize annually to look for certain birds that they can only find in the tropics and in Belize. So that's growing. There's potential for us to improve our livelihoods, to gain economic benefits through bird tourism here in this country. So the fair is one activity that we're doing to bring about more awareness, to get people excited about birds. And there's not a better place to do it than in Crooked Tree. It's so beautiful.
Has there been a growing interest? I know the Audubon has a sustained program where you have bird watching groups from Belize get together on a periodic basis to go look for birds.
Yes, through our membership. We're a membership organization, and we encourage bird watching. So we do bird tours to the protected areas. And what we've been doing in the communities, the buffer communities around the protected areas, is create bird clubs as well. So those are catching on. They're very successful. We're starting with the young people, of course, because we want that culture to develop from the very young, to understand the importance of protecting birds, and again, to see the true economic value in protecting birds and their habitat.
So let's talk a little bit about the art of bird watching, because you have to tie it in very closely to science as well.
Yes. But our approach is we try to separate the science. The science part tends to turn people off when you're introducing people to bird watching. And so it's done in a very simple way, where you go out and you first learn the birds that are around you, the common birds. We all know birds, and I do this test all the time, William.
Blackbird.
And I say,
Blackbirds and pigeons.
let's see how many birds you know. And the average Belizean knows about 20 birds. You might have your own name for that bird, but you know that bird. And so it's building on that, all right? We have our local names for the birds, and so it's just building on what people already know, and they get excited about that. So it is catching on.
So the birds do have a geographic location that you'd find more populations. So
depending on the type of the bird and the habitat. So for example, Crooked Tree is a wetland. So you get at Crooked Tree, you'll see the larger birds, and I like that because those are the birds that you can teach people easier. They're bigger, they're easy to see.
You don't need binoculars.
Yes, and they're not necessarily out only early in the morning. On a regular day, you can see them on the lagoon, and the shot on the screen shows you that right there. So Crooked Tree is the ideal place to teach people about birds. Just come stand on the edge of that lagoon, use a binoculars or a spotting scope, and that's what we'll be doing on the day of the fair. We'll have birding stations, that's what we're calling them. So you can come up, William, learn about using a binoculars. And I've been teaching people about birds, and I see it on their face, the excitement when they use these tools, the binoculars and the spotting scope, and they see a bird that you've been seeing with your naked eye for the first time through a binoculars, and it's amazing. It's just excitement all over again.
Now, Dean, let's talk about the traction of bird-based tourism in Crooked Tree currently, and what the village has been doing to encourage it.
Well, right now in collaboration with BAS, because Crooked Tree is branded for quite a few things. I think what stands out is the cashew. I mean, we can't take that from Crooked Tree. We own cashew. But we also has in terms of the various species of bird, including migratory birds in Crooked Tree. And I think it was this relationship between Crooked Tree and Audubon was established back, I believe it was 1983, there about 84. And it was, as it's saying, encouraging bird-based tourism in Crooked Tree. We want more and more, even the locals, to get involved in birding, because growing up in Crooked Tree, we see tourists come in. Way back, as far as I can recall, SNL used to be one of the more popular tours, bringing tourists to Crooked Tree, and we used to wonder, what the heck are these people? What do they find so interesting? Standing there for minutes, just looking at something. We couldn't catch on, you know. We find that really kind of bored. And so right now there's a effort right now in terms of branding, not just like I said the cashew, but even birds. So all the streets, and I think this is in collaboration with BAS, will be named after some bird. And one of the interesting things is that what we want to do is that, yes, they will have the, if I think it's a scientific name, but also we want to, as part of our tourism, localize it and put the local name, because we want that to be a part of the attraction for tourists. All right, if they will find it interesting, yes, they with their tour guides, they know what the real name or the scientific name is, but yeah, but they want to know, will find it interesting localized, because there's some very interesting localized names, and we want to actually put that out there, so you'll see on the street not just the name of the bird, but we also like to get some kind of picture and some kind of write-up of that bird. So walking through Crooked Tree, it will be a learning experience. Just
That's a
by
great
the
way to
street.
keep the locals educated on the birds as
Right.
well.
Definitely.
Yeah. So that means your bird knowledge is expanded at this point?
Yeah, that's what we want to do. We need to do that, because like Doris said, honestly, if you ask how many birds do we know, even as local, growing up in a sanctuary, that I think, how many species we talk about over? Is it
We have, in total in Belize, we have about 570
500.
species of birds in Crooked Tree, about 300 species. And for the water birds, which are the bigger ones, your storks, like your jabiru storks, your egrets, about over 100 wading birds, water birds.
Yeah.
So there's a lot.
And the jabiru always gets a lot of attention as well. In fact,
Yes.
your mascot is you have a mascot that's a jabiru.
Yes, we do. And Jimbaru, the jabiru, will be there at the fair.
I thought he
this
was going to be
weekend.
here today.
He'll be there. So
He's out fishing, right?
exactly.
Yeah.
So the fair is an opportunity, as I said, for Belizeans like myself to come out and experience Crooked Tree. If you've never visited Crooked Tree, this is the time to do that. The fairground itself is on the bank of the lagoon, so it's a beautiful location. So
nice and cool.
it's an opportunity to go picnic. Take your family. There will be activities for the entire family, boat tours, the bird watching stations. Ozzy the Clown will be there, and he's been practicing, showing me his balloons that he's been twisting with the different birds. So we'll have that. Everything is bird themed and fish themed.
Right.
Yeah.
Crooked Tree, this is a partnership, as I said, for us to highlight the bird-based tourism. But Crooked Tree has been having this tilapia festival for a number of years, and Dean
Yeah.
can share a little bit
Yeah.
with you about that. So it's joining of those two events to make it bigger and market some of the things that Crooked Tree is well
So
known
it's a
for.
rebranding of the Tilapia Festival.
Well, yeah, including now bird, because while the Tilapia Fest, and I think it was since 2016 as it was established, and I don't know, fisheries kind of embrace that idea, but then of course BAS working along with them too. So I guess the question came up: so what about birds? And I think one of the key thing here that we want to do, and I believe that through the efforts of BAS, is to actually bring foreigners in annually for this event and organize a major bird tourism experience in Crooked Tree for that specific weekend. Because, well, as you know, William and Marlene, Crooked Tree has been at the forefront in terms of coming up with innovative ideas. As I always claim that the mother of all fests in Belize is the Cashew Fest. That's where all the idea of all these festivals, the Lobster Fest, the this fest. And so in 2000 we established that Tilapia Fest. And I must make mention, I think it was one of the local fishermen who came up with that idea. I think it was a guy by the name of Kenneth Bruce. I must make mention to that. I stand corrected, but I think it was his idea. And it sounded like a crazy idea first, but then when we first run that, especially with the venue and the difference from being out at the local showgrounds where we do the Cashew Fest, people like the idea that it's down by the waterside, it's nice and cool. Like Dari said, it's a picnic experience for the entire family. And so what we want to do now is to add value to that so that it becomes even more attractive.
So what activities are being integrated to keep the fish theme?
Well, it will be pretty much fish based. Dari said, you know, there will be in terms of the bird tours and everything else that Audubon will be implementing with birds, but it is Tilapia Fest still. And everything in terms of the food, yes, there will be, I'm not sure in terms of game meat because we're doing this in collaboration with Bass, and I'm not sure what we can have out there. If the locals will be, I'm not sure, but it will be fish, and it will be tilapia. And yes, the fish cook-off by Grace. Grace Kennedy is sponsoring a fish cook-off. And that will be interesting because it will be serré. No, we were on Love yesterday, and I said, well, I'm not sure because while we were engaging Grace Kennedy in terms of sponsoring the products that we want to use for that, it sounded kind of limited to me, but I was corrected by Carmen, and I think you cook. I'm not sure if Marlene cook, but I was told that serré is a very exotic meal that you can put together, and I think there are 4 locals that are entering the competition, and we don't want to be so localized, but next year we want to open this up because you know
that people from outside
right,
can
especially in the buffer communities can also participate. There will be canoe race,
tug of war,
right. And normally at the center of
maypole as well.
at the center of the attraction we normally do what we call a net pulling.
Yes.
And for people who are visiting, we do that primarily so that they can get to buy their local river fish
fresh fish
at a very, very, very giveaway price, I should say. So it is still Tilapia Fest, and fisheries usually take a lead role in terms of educating, because we know a lot maybe about our marine life, but pretty much this is more based on what we have in the sea, and people have limited information in terms of what is in the lagoon, in the freshwater area. So this Fish Fest or Tilapia Fest also gives an opportunity for educating people about the river fishes. And another thing too that we're trying to see, because we want to commercialize the local fishes, and people.
Now, I just wanted to ask that because you were saying about tilapia, and I think that's one of the things, especially coming from a Belize City perspective, people love their sea fish. And river fish can be at times a hard sell for people. I mean, we eat it, but the preference will always be a grouper, a snapper, people who are in the coastal communities.
Yeah.
So I know that that's part of where the Tilapia Fest first came up. Has there been a growing interest now in being able to diversify what people have a preference for?
I would say yes, and I think it credited quite towards the fact that in the same way as the Cashew Fest, before the Cashew Fest, people were very limited in terms of, you know, they eat the cashew nut, maybe they would try a little stewed cashew, or maybe the wine. But since that, we have expanded and opened up in so many different areas in terms of processing cashew, and that is exactly what the Tilapia Fest has done, is that we have market now that we cannot even meet in terms of the demand. And a lot of time when you go to the local restaurants right here in Belize and you order filet, little did you know, you might think you're eating filet snapper. No, that's filet tilapia from Crooked Tree, because we have a huge market for that. All right, and since the tilapia came, I think it was established that there was a flooding, I think back in the late 90s. And there was a pond somewhere in the Biscayne area, fish farm, and that's how the tilapia came into our water system. And yes, initially, even us, the local, we struggle with trying to adapt to
River
the
fish.
taste of that fish. But I think over the years they have evolved well and adapted well to that habitat in Crooked Tree. And I'm saying for a fact that the taste, the experience is totally different now. How tilapia is
It's
tasted.
almost natural.
It's almost natural. Tilapia is
Almost natural.
yeah, it's running a very close race right now with what used to be our favorite, which is a crana.
Yeah.
All right, tilapia is right there now. People, when they go to the restaurant, the local restaurant, they're actually asking for tilapia now.
Now, as you pointed out, Darius, this is, of course, an expansion of the Tilapia Fest. And so you're trying to get that bird theme
Yes.
stuck in there, too. And one of the attractions that you have is a costume competition. Tell us about that.
Yes, we do. That was one way of engaging the buffer communities around Crooked Tree. Again, the awareness part that I've been working with those communities. And so we engaged the school children to compete in a bird costume competition. That's the winner of another competition we had in Crooked Tree last year.
Okay.
So that's a young man from the Biscayne Government School. He and his mother created that King Vulture costume. So we will have school children again, and the idea is to get the family involved, and so it's a family effort. So the mom, the dad helping the child to create that bird costume. So they will be modeling that costume and preparing a little piece to talk about describing that bird.
It's
So
primary school children?
Yes, primary school children from around the Crooked Tree Wildlife Sanctuary.
That's good because they have to know all the details, the coloring of the
Yes.
of the bird and whatnot.
Some facts about the bird.
Yeah.
When you talk about buffer communities, people immediately think that you're saying Crooked Tree, but we don't think about other
communities.
So let's talk about some of the other communities.
So officially, the other buffer communities of the Crooked Tree Wildlife Sanctuary are Biscayne, Gardenia, and Lemonal. So those are communities in location that are close to the community, the Crooked Tree wetlands, because it's a huge wetland system.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't know that there's an additional lagoon, the Jones and Mexico Lagoon, behind the Biscayne area, Gardenia Biscayne area, that's also a part of the Crooked Tree wetland system. So these communities share and use the resources and share in protecting the resource as well.
And there is some road in the or some route in the back that you can take.
To get where?
I don't know where.
No,
Behind Crooked Tree, yes, there's a causeway.
Yeah, the same as there's a causeway in the front, there's no causeway at the back.
where does it?
That
or
can
who does
take-
it
Try
connect?
it and find out where it takes you, that's all.
Yeah, that connected to the New River, the New River layout
New River area.
Okay.
and you can go to. I'm sure you can go to
there's
Lamanau.
farmland
There's
in
farmland,
that
yeah,
area,
most farmland in the back.
farmland,
Lamanai is right at the back there, and that's why there was an argument. And we still continue to argue that why isn't the route to Lamanai go right through Crooked Tree? Because Lamanai is right at
It's
the back.
very close.
It's very close.
Actually, the northern part of the Crooked Tree Wildlife Sanctuary extends into the Orange Walk district. So
Yeah.
those are very close to, as Dean said, Lamanai and all that
Yeah.
area in the back.
And the festival itself, we didn't talk about entertainment. We covered the food
Yes.
portion and the games portion.
Yes,
but
we have
any
a-
good festival has great entertainment.
Yes, we will have Steel Pan Entertainment by Alex Evans and his Dynamic Steel Pan Trio. So they will be playing all local music on the steel pan. So imagine that being down by the lagoon
Right.
and that beautiful steel pan music. So again, William, you can't miss it, right?
Crooked
So we
Tree.
have that going on, as well as a DJ that will be there for the 2 days as well. So
Because it's a 2-day festival, generally in Crooked Tree, I know when there's a 2-day, that means there's a dance the night.
Right.
So, will there be a dance?
Of course they will. We cannot have a fest in
really?
Kitchi without a dance. And we decided to contract this year. We have two DJs. We have a local DJs, Crossroads Song, which is from Crooked Tree, and then we have a mega song system from Burl Broom, Stone Vibes.
Stone Vibes.
They were, for the first time, we contracted them last year for the Cashew Fest, and people love their music. I mean, it's a huge system, and they have depth in terms of their knowledge of or skills in terms of DJing. So we can't. And the thing again, these boys, while they live in Burraboom, they have roots in Crooked Tree. Alright? So it's pretty much a Crooked Tree thing. And some people are saying, well, why? How come we didn't get a band, a live band? But we like the idea of including now the steel pan. And this is a smaller fest, of course, than the Cashew Fest. And so we think we're going to try to see how it works out with just having DJs as opposed to a band. You know, we used to have band in the past, but we said, you know what, let's keep it localized and give everybody an opportunity to make some money. You know?
Okay. So the Bird and Fish Festival takes place this weekend.
Yes.
Right.
All right.
Saturday and Sunday. One more thing, William, we will be having free transportation, so no excuse to not go to Crooked Tree.
From where?
Buses leave from in front of the Belize Audubon Society's office, 8 o'clock on Saturday and 7 a.m. on Sunday. A bus also leaves from the Boom Junction on Sunday at 10 a.m., picking up people all through the communities up to Crooked Tree. The buses return back at 4:30 to Belize City. And once you can't catch any of those buses, you can catch a regular bus, stop off at the junction, and we will have a shuttle taking people in to the community as well. So free transportation.
All right.
And the festival runs from what time to what time?
From
on
10
both days?
a.m. to 6 p.m.
On both days.
Yes.
And there is an entrance fee.
Yes.
Okay.
$3 for adults and $1 for children. And if you're interested in the bird watching, again, as I said, Sunday, the transportation leaves earlier at 7 a.m. So we can spend some time doing bird watching before the festival opens at 10 o'clock.
All right. Do you have to bring your own binoculars?
No, we'll have all the equipment. So just come ready to go and bird watch.
All right. Well, thank you very much for joining us and giving us all the details about the festival coming up this weekend, and best of luck.
Thank you too.
Thank you
Thank
too.
you.
I'd like to say a big thank you though on behalf of the Village Council and of course the people of Crooked Tree to Belize Audubon. I mean, they have contributed significantly to this year's event, and there, of course there are other sponsors, Grace Kennedy Belize. Unfortunately, I don't have the list, but we must make huge mention that the effort that BAS is doing in ensuring that we have a successful fest this year.
And if I can mention, in addition to that, this is a part of a project that we're implementing that's funded by the Inter-American Development Bank and the National Audubon Society. So it's a partnership, and we also thank the Crooked Tree Village Council and the people of Crooked Tree who have worked with us to making this event come alive. And so people coming out and participating over the weekend will show our success.
Sure.
All right.
Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you too.
We're going to go ahead and take a break, and when we come back, we're going to be joined by Brad Patico and Contraband. We'll explain after these messages.